advice I got from an NHS doctor. That's the advice I got.
Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg should do with their money. If you were able to run their money and run how wealth distributes, how would you tax them, and how would we be affected, the middle and the lower class?
Yeah, I would cap it at 900 million is the amount you can make, and I would.
Oh, wasn't she fucking saying just earlier that she was like, no, I'm not in favor of taking people's money. But now she's like, oh yeah, cap it at 900 million. Completely arbitrary, by the way. I'm going to cap it at 900 million and then take everything. You want to destroy every business in the US. That's what you want. You want to destroy our best chance of becoming multiplanetary. Guess what? Fucking, how good has the government done at space travel? Not very. They've not done very well at it at all, right? They have, what is the big innovation of NASA in rocketry since the shuttle? You know, what is their big innovation since then? I asked this because there was a clip made of Ask Ancap, which is a show I run with, fucking, can't remember his goddamn username. Galazar, that's it. I don't want to use the wrong username because he's got multiple usernames for unrelated things. Galazar, where there was a short made of it, of me saying this sort of thing about SpaceX, where somebody was like, well, their big innovation with the James Webb Space Telescope. It's like, okay, brilliant telescope, I'm sure. Great telescope, can look very, very far. That's not really an innovation in rocketry. That's not really pushing us further out, is it? That's not really advancing us towards Kardashev 1. Not really. And he's like, well, here's my ChatGPT summary. He just gave me a ChatGPT summary of what a spacecraft technically meant. I was like, well, technically this is a spacecraft. It's like, it's not the relevant parts that they are innovating in. It's still just using the same old RCS systems. It's still using the same old fucking rockets to get up there. A lot of the time, privately built rockets. It's still using all that. Where is the big innovation in rocketry coming from? It's coming from SpaceX. That's where it's coming from, right? Like, nobody can fucking deny this at this. It's this idea that, well, government. In fact, this lady's wrong. Government is not better suited at having that wealth than the private sector. They're worse at using it. They just are worse at using it. It's the same thing with the, Mackenzie Scott was so great because she's giving away all her wealth. Name a single thing that charity has actually solved, ever. Do you know what solved hunger? It was capitalism. Capitalism solved hunger. Capitalism already solved hunger. So much so that even the very poor in Western countries are able to be obese. That's how fully we have solved hunger. Okay, which charity has ever solved hunger? What is their game plan on solving hunger? What does their timeline look like? None of them can tell you. None of them will ever solve hunger. None of them will ever solve any of these problems. Only capitalism can solve these problems.
Look at the meme.
Yeah. Let me pull this up.
Pretty accurate.
Yeah.
Adding on to that this important thing, you know, it's not just that capitalism solves this problem, but look at let's actually do a comparative analysis of what the government has done via NASA versus what SpaceX has done and how much time it took SpaceX to innovate, right? NASA has been basically doing the same thing. You know, of course, iterative changes here and there, right? But there's nothing being done that is completely revolutionary. They've never went ahead because of the fact that they didn't have this pressure of innovating, this pressure of, hey, we need to get the costs down, right? They didn't have this pressure like SpaceX or anyone else did.
Yeah, it's
right?
when Elon Musk first started, the entire like pitch for SpaceX was, well, I mean, why are we throwing away these like millions of dollars every time we do a rocket launch by just throwing it into the ocean? What if we had reusable rockets? And people laughed at him. People laughed at Elon Musk for suggesting that you could have really reusable rockets like you have reusable planes. Mm. He solved that. And now it's way cheaper to get stuff into orbit.
Based?
Yeah. And the thing is that it's been such a revolutionary idea that people are actually using SpaceX so much for their services. And look at how much time it took SpaceX to do that. Compare it to how much NASA wastes on a single trip. Like, it's insane. And not to mention a lot of NASA stuff, their old engines, for instance, they're not, because of the way they were built and because of the bureaucracy and all that shit, they can't even properly rebuild some of these older engines.
Yeah, I mean,
I do want to cut in here real quick though. Trevor's 6379 says SpaceX hasn't done anything that NASA didn't already do decades ago. Well, actually, I don't recall NASA catching a skyscraper that they just sent into orbit decades ago. I don't remember NASA doing that. But you know who did do that? SpaceX. SpaceX was able to put a skyscraper into orbit and then catch it as it came back down to Earth. So, no, you're wrong.
Cool. I was just going to say, like, I remember when kind of looking into this stuff. So you had, like, there's a guy from, like, who works at NASA who's like, yeah, we had this this technology to, like, land on the moon and all that stuff. And they just lost that technology somehow. That's like typical government inefficiency there.
Yeah, that's really why I brought it up, because it's interesting that, you know, in the private sector, if you do this as an engineer, you'd get killed. Like, you lost the blueprints to our engine? Hell no, you're getting fired.
Yeah.
And then Trevor 6379 follows up with somebody, Half Hippo says, well, when did NASA invent reusable rockets? And he says the space shuttle. The shuttle was reusable, but I want to just pull up a picture. Space shuttle on landing pad. Let's see what it looks like when it's on the landing pad. You know, I am noticing something here. It does appear that there's a big fuck-off rocket attached to it. Now, does this rocket in fact land? Does the space shuttle go off and fly away, and then the rocket comes back down and lands? I don't fucking think it does. I think that rocket plummets into the goddamn ocean, and it's lost forever. So, like, what are you even saying? I don't think you understand what you're talking about, or you're being dishonest. No, they landed on an airstrip. They landed the shuttle on an airstrip. Sure, they managed to land a fucking shuttle on an airstrip. But what happens to that big fuck-off orange thing that it's attached to? What happens to that? It gets fucking discarded. Do you know how much that fucking thing costs? I don't. Probably not free. I can't imagine that thing was free, right? That is not allowed in private industry. You don't throw away your plane's engines after every fucking trip across the globe. You don't throw that away. That's very expensive.
Well, I don't have the numbers myself right on hand. The last time I did check is that it is actually pretty expensive. You know, it's not like 50% or something, right? But it definitely is a significant amount of money, such that the venture of making it reusable has reduced the costs significantly and was profitable enough to go into by SpaceX.
Yeah, he's saying that orange part is just the fuel tank. The two solid rocket boosters are cheaper to build new ones rather than reuse them. Okay, so can NASA put payloads into orbit cheaper than SpaceX? Answer that question, Travers, and I'll wait for your answer. Because in fact, if it is cheaper to just build new ones rather than reuse them, that is rockets, it's cheaper to just build new rockets than reuse the rockets. I'm curious, can NASA put payloads into orbit cheaper than SpaceX can? Who can put payloads into orbit the cheapest? Because I don't think it's NASA, or else why would NASA buy so many fucking room on SpaceX rockets? Why would they keep buying up so much room on SpaceX rockets if it was cheaper to just build new rockets every goddamn time? It's just cheaper to build a new plane each time you do complete the journey. Like, this is ludicrous. This is not true at all.
And can't they like put bigger payloads too, or is that
Almost certainly.
Yeah.
Let's see, Trevor. Yes, they could do it cheaper. The Russian Soyuz was cheaper than SpaceX rockets are right now. Okay, why are people paying so much money to SpaceX? Here's my question to you, Trevor. If SpaceX is more expensive to put a payload into orbit than these other alternatives, why is SpaceX so profitable? Why are they making so much money? Why are governments giving SpaceX money to put payloads into orbit for them? Why wouldn't they just build a new rocket if it's cheaper? What is your explanation for that, Travers? Please enlighten me. Enlighten me. As a SpaceX investor, maybe I'll just divest immediately after this, because you'll convince me that it's really inefficient. Please, enlighten me. Because they're not allowed to use the Russian shit anymore because of the war. But I thought it was cheaper. I thought it was cheaper to use that, those solid rocket boosters and everything. It's cheaper. I thought NASA could do it way cheaper already. Why do they need to use the Russian stuff? If NASA can already do it cheaper than SpaceX, why aren't they doing it cheaper than SpaceX? What are you saying? This doesn't make any sense to me. Like, what are you saying, Travers? It doesn't quite track. Your story doesn't track. Well, whilst we wait for the Starship just blows up every time. So who knows how that'll work out? Okay, but who can do it cheaper, Travers? Who can do it cheaper? Why are these governments? Why is the American government paying SpaceX money instead of just doing it cheaper on their own? Why is that? What fact explains that? NASA could do it cheaper, but instead they pay SpaceX. Why? Why, if they could do it cheaper, why are they paying SpaceX to do it? For what reason? What is the reason for that? Zulu crash out? Yeah, I'm crashing out in this fucking chatter. Because he's saying nonsense. Utter nonsense. Okay? Why aren't they doing it cheaper? I'll read some super chats and then see if Trevor's has any response for why on earth the American government would be paying SpaceX to do this if they could just do it cheaper on their own. Why the fuck would they do that? And let's see these super chats. We have got Sawyer 07 for 20 DKK. Marxism is a materialist death cult, indeed. And then another for 50 DKK. Thank you very much. The lack of economic calculation and its consequences have been a disaster for the human race, indeed. And then very big name. I'm sorry, I'm not going to try and pronounce that again. It's a very long username you've got there. For another 100 kroner, thank you very much. Saying stop the cap. Presumably, the socialists were saying something cappy at that point. And then another one for 50 kroner. Thank you very much. Charity solved money laundering. they are very effective at money laundering. Then we got a null paradigm for 5 Canadian dollars. Speaking of charity in Africa, are you still planning on making a video about poverty in Africa? And if so, will it be a longer form video? It's going to be a very long video. I've been collecting stuff for that video for a very long time. Another from DMN blah 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 for 100 kroner. Thank you very much. The German V2 rockets were cheaper than the NASA Orange thing. Yes, everybody should use V2s, of course. So let's see Trevor's. Trevor's, do you have any... No.
Before you go into
because the shit's... Oh, sorry, you go ahead. I think he's saying his response now.
Yeah, I'll have to add a little thing here, right? You know, the original shuttles, you know, SRBs, you know, the actual things on the side, not the main fuel tank, not the orange one. Those were recoverable in the sense that they would land in water. Problem is now you have salt water in them. You're gonna have to wait until you recover them because they're gonna be in the fucking ocean. Whereas SpaceX, you know, their engines that they use, they land back on the fucking landing pad or some other carrier that could take them back. Like, you're talking about the logistics of this, right? And the repair cost on the SRBs. It's one thing to just do splash some fucking rocket in water and then expose and whatever. It's another one to actually land it back on the strip. It's a completely different thing. And if you actually want to look at the cost, and I mean, probably never gonna really know the true cost of the space shuttle and whatnot, but it's estimated to be like $500 million to more for one flight. It's kind of nuts, right? You know how much what the actual public price is for, you know, launching something with the SpaceX stuff, with the Falcon 9 thing? About $70 million or something, maybe less. Probably going to be, their internal cost is probably less, right? Because this is the public cost. This is the actual cost you pay as a company, right? Internally, it's probably going to be a lot less. And we're comparing an order of magnitude difference, if not 2 order of magnitudes difference. Like, it's insane to even compare them.
And so his response was, well, the reason why NASA is paying the money to SpaceX rather than doing it themselves for cheaper is because the shit's rigged. And there's preferential treatment for SpaceX, and it's not really a secret at this point. That's how they got the